namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 72. Yesha Brahmi Sthitihi Pardha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitvasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Ruchati. So Krishna is saying, in this way, in what way? That Krishna described in the last few verses in answer to Arjuna's 4 questions. What are the symptoms of a realized person? How does he talk? How does he sit? How does he walk? Krishna explained all of those answers in terms of restricting one's senses, engaging the senses in Krishna consciousness, and so on and so forth. And this Krishna is calling as Brahmi Sthitihi. Sthiti means situation. Brahmi Sthiti means spiritual situation. Brahman or Brahman means the supreme absolute truth. So if one is situated in this way, Esha Brahmi Sthitihi Pardha Na Enam Prapya Vimuhyati. Having attained this position, Enam Prapya Na Vimuhyati, that person does not ever get bewildered. Stitvasyam Antakalepi. And in this way, if one can be situated at the time of death, Antakale means at the time of death. Stitva, if one is situated in this way, Brahma Nirvanam Ruchati. Brahma Nirvanam means, Prabhupada explains the word to word, spiritual kingdom of God is what it means. Sometimes people mistake Nirvana means nothing, like the standard Buddhism. They propagate this principle of Nirvana. Nirvana means actually, if you see Gnanavan, Gnanavan means one who possesses Gnana. Bhagyavan, one who possesses Bhagya, Bhagyavan. Buddhiman, one who possesses Buddhi. Balavan, one who possesses Bala. Acharyavan, one who possesses Acharya. Like that, Nirvan means one who possesses Ni. Ni means annihilate. Oh, it's basically negation, nothing. Or one who possesses nothing. Nirvana. Actually, what it means is one who possesses nothing on the material platform that we have discussed in the previous verse. Nirmama means one who considers nothing is his, because he knows everything is Krishna's. If you read later chapters, you will see Krishna explains, particularly the 5th chapter, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Everything belongs to Krishna. So nothing belongs to us. So Nirvana means I don't possess anything, not even this body. But Krishna possesses everything. So Nirvana refers to not possessing anything, not identifying ourselves with the material body. But there is a spiritual side also. That is, yes, we are not this body, but we are something. What is that? We are spirit soul. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Yes, we don't possess anything, but who possesses? Krishna possesses. So, and if we engage anything in service of Krishna, that is also as good as Nirvana. We are acting on the platform of Nirvana. Prabhupada beautifully explains in the purport that this Nirvana actual life, this according to Buddhist philosophy, which they say the purpose is Nirvana, ending the process of materialistic life. They say that there is only void after the completion of this material life. But Bhagavad Gita teaches differently. Actual life begins after the completion of this material life. So they try to end this material life, which they call Nirvana. They say that there is nothing after that, it's only void. That's why they are called voidists. Shunyavadi. But actual life begins after the completion of this material life. So, for persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life. If one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of this Brahma Nirvana, that spiritual life. So, does one have to wait until one dies? At the time of death, you become Krishna conscious, you go to the kingdom of God, the Brahman Nirvana. No, there is no difference between the kingdom of God and the devotional service of the Lord. Why? Because both of them are on the absolute plane. Because what you do when you go back to Godhead, you engage in the loving service of the Lord. So if you do that here also, in this present body, in this present life, you are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is same as attaining the spiritual kingdom. So attainment of Krishna consciousness even during this life is immediate attainment of Brahman. And one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. See how wonderful the purport is, how amazing the statement is. One who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. It's just like you entered an embassy. It's as good as entering that country, isn't it? Because the rules of the foreign country doesn't apply within the embassy. So if you want protection, you just go and surrender in the embassy, they will protect you if you belong to that country. So they will find ways and means to get you back to your home country. So like that, by engaging in Krishna consciousness, you are in the spiritual embassy. Even in this material world, you are in the embassy. It's as good as being in the kingdom of God. That is only a matter of consequence. Eventually, you will go back to Godhead. So, people make this mistake. Nirvana means, of course, Nirvana means material annihilation, but there is a spiritual life after that. So, there was this college where they were facing a problem. The professor called all these staff members and he said, the parents are complaining and these students are getting into wrong habits and there's no cleanliness and they're writing everywhere on the walls and on the mirrors, and the bathrooms are chaotic. Even the classrooms during the breaks are so chaotic and there's no discipline. And people are offering different solutions and they're considering the principle. And then the one junior professor raised his hands and everybody shuts him up, and because he's just a junior. And then they discuss different solutions, but nothing is working. So one day this professor is walking past these different classrooms. Everything is during the break and everything is chaotic. But one classroom, it's pin drop silence. And then he sees that this junior professor is the one who is handling that classroom. And he's not even there. And he is wondering how these students are so silent. He calls this junior professor and asks him, I'm surprised. That day you were trying to say something, but we didn't allow you. How are you make this? How are you able to make this students so silent? And he says, I actually give them, divide them into two people. They play a game of chess. They're all sitting in different tables. They're playing with one another a game of chess. And I give them rewards. And whoever wins, I give them reward and things like that. And now they are addicted to chess. They're always playing the chess whenever they get the break. And then professor actually appreciates him for this wonderful idea, how he solved that situation. So you see here, the powerful instruction is that the jiva, the spirit soul, is always active. That is the nature. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Krishna says in third chapter, even for a moment we cannot remain silent. Even if materially we remain silent, bodily wise we remain silent, but mind is acting. Mind is always thinking, thoughts, desires, because it's the spirit soul who wants to be active. That is the nature. So if you don't give it right activity, the spirit soul will engage in wrong activity. But activity it has to do. So these Mayavada, the Buddhist, and these other impersonalistic philosophies who say that ultimately you have to become silent, you have to end this existence, you go and merge into something, some impersonal effulgence. This is all trying to negate material disturbance, material nonsense, material activity which is giving them trouble, the karma and all that. But how long the spirit soul remains silent, remains like a void, remains merged into effulgence. The spirit soul wants activity. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyasa from an impersonalist sannyasi, Keshava Bharati, coming from Shankara Sampradaya. People expected him to do what they were doing at the time, which is to study Vedanta and discuss about Brahman, speculate about Brahman, merging into Brahman. But to their surprise, he did none of that. On the other hand, he started to go chant and dance on the streets, take these mrudangas, kartals, and big sounds and instruments and chanting, dancing loudly. All these things he was doing. And when he went to Varanasi and he was continuing to do this Harinam Sankirtan on the streets, so the sannyasis, the typical Shankara sannyasis led by Prakashananda Saraswati, they became quite upset. Why this person, he's bringing disrepute to our class. He is dancing and chanting on the streets like a madman without studying Vedanta and speculating on Brahman, becoming silent, becoming austere and all that. He is like a sentimental fool. He is dancing, taking other sentimental people along with him. So they called him through another devotee for discussion, or the other devotee actually arranges a discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Saraswati. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes there and they ask a lot of questions. They present different arguments from Vedanta Sutra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thoroughly defeats each and every argument. The basic point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells them is that the impersonalism, what it basically means is that you negate material thing, but you engage in spiritual thing. When the scriptures say that the absolute truth has no form, it means he has no material form. You cannot think of the supreme absolute truth, the supreme Lord, containing a form made of this flesh, bones, blood, skin, these material things, the obnoxious things. He's got a spiritual form made of Satchid Ananda. So the scriptures, when they say there is no material form, it means there is a spiritual form. Similarly, when the scriptures advocate remain silent, practice mauna, practice detachment, it means mauna on the material platform, detachment on the material platform. But there is a higher platform, the spiritual platform, where Krishna even says in Bhagavad Gita, the eternal duty of a jiva is satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya drudavrataha namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. What is the nityayukta for the jiva? Satatam kirtayantaha, not remaining silent, always glorifying Krishna. If you are doing a good thing, automatically you are not doing the bad thing. Isn't it? Drudavrataha, you should engage in activity with strong determination. Yatantaha, endeavor. Because you are doing good activity, automatically you are not doing bad activity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu similarly said, Kirtaniyaha sada harihi. We should always engage in kirtana, either chanting the holy names or glorifying the Lord with our activities, with our services, with our engagement, with our occupation. It should be meant for glorification of the Lord. So we are not idealists, we are not voidists, we are not impersonalists, nor does Bhagavad Gita or our scriptures recommend impersonalism. So this is actually, Prabhupada puts it very nicely in the purport. One can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once, within a second, or one may not attain such a state of life even after millions of births. You see, all of this can be understood within 1 second. Just accept the statement of Krishna and it is clear. It's clear like the sun. You accept the sun. Yes, there is sun god, there is light emanating from sun god, and you accept the sun, the statements of Krishna. But if you want to speculate and understand with your logic, with your tiny brain, see what Prabhupada says, even after millions of births, you may not attain. So take it from the authority, take it from Bhagavad Gita, take it from disciplic succession. Within one moment, and Prabhupada gives the example of Khatwanga. This Khatwanga Maharaj, he was a very valiant warrior to the extent that these devatas and higher planets, they hired him for fighting with the demons. So he goes there and valiantly he fights and he helps devatas win over the demons. And the devatas become very pleased and they ask him for a benediction. What benediction do you want? So Khatwanga Maharaj says, I want to know when will I die? And the devatas, they look at the future, and they say that you only have one moment left, according to their time, which is, very short duration in earthly time. So immediately comes back. Immediately he focuses on Krishna, becomes fully Krishna conscious, and perfects his life and goes back to home, back to Godhead. So Khatwanga Maharaj, within 1 second, within a moment, he realized. So Prabhupada writes, Khatwanga Maharaj attained this state of life just a few minutes before his death by surrendering unto Krishna. So like that, one can immediately take to Krishna consciousness, not be bewildered or deviated by people who say that Nirvana is the highest, voidism is highest, impersonalism is highest, Gnana is highest. There was one person comes to temple, who used to come to temple regularly, and he would have some kind of philosophy. And what is his philosophy? He says, no, bhakti, I'm not I don't practice bhakti like you do, because bhakti is meant for those who cannot understand with their intelligence, rationality, and who don't have sufficient knowledge to understand about what is this world, what is Brahman, and those kind of things. So he preferred more of a meditation kind than active kirtans and chanting the holy names and things like that. So he would come and sit and meditate for some time and go. So I was watching him one day. So I went a little closer. He was closing. He was falling off the chair because he was meditating, but he was sleeping. It's a nice atmosphere, nice, chanting is going on in the background, very peaceful. And he sat to meditate, but actually he was sleeping. So unfortunately, this is the position of our age. People, they mislead and they get misled also. The people who are not in parampara, who are self-made gurus, who don't preach Bhagavad Gita as it is, who don't preach as it is from the Vedic knowledge, they teach their own concocted philosophies. You go on YouTube, you may see very powerful speakers, influential people having millions of views and millions of subscribers. But not necessarily they have to be in the disciplic succession. Not necessarily what they are speaking is bona fide. And you will see phalena parichayate. If you are not improving in your Krishna consciousness, if you are not improving in your detachment for material things, you're not making progress. You should see for yourself whether you're making progress by taking that path. So one should not be misled by these things. Actually, you see in the spiritual world, we read in Bhagavatam and Krishna book, imagine yourself in the spiritual world. Early morning they wake up, and especially all these cowherd boys, they cannot sleep. They want to get up and be with Krishna, go back to Krishna, and go to the picnic and the forest. And as soon as they wake up, they start to play these bugles, buffalo horns, and the trumpets and the flutes. And they all get together and they go to Krishna's house. They get Krishna, they decorate Krishna, and they all start to go and they start to play and shout and imitate these different animal sounds and run and roll, jump. And every moment you see in Vrindavan, you won't find like a the calm sound or something. Always you will see these cowherd boys or the women, they are talking about Krishna. They are making some sounds, playing music or playing some instruments. These cowherd boys, these cowherd girls, they are all full of activity. You won't find any silence there. You won't find anybody doing meditation there. In fact, if you want silence, you cannot go there. People, oh, I want silence, I don't want disturbance. Of course, yes, that is material disturbance. But once you get spiritual life, you want disturbance, not a disturbance in that sense. You want spiritual activity. You cannot but think of Krishna, hear about Krishna. That is our natural position, and that's what the Vrindavan Vasis are always doing. So we are getting trained to be like that. So if you are getting trained to be silent, then you cannot go back to Godhead. If you are getting trained to attain nirvana, annihilating, and as Prabhupada said yesterday in the discussion, anyway, naturally your body is dying. Why you have to practice anything for it? Nirvana, you are all automatically attaining. Cats and dogs are also automatically attaining. So, what is your great practice? So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the author very nicely he says, the people are like strong elephants, very strong actually in their Krishna consciousness, but they have been perturbed by this crocodile of Maya in terms of these various philosophies like Mayavada, Jainism, Buddhism, all these things. It's compared to like crocodiles, and they hold you from progressing to Krishna consciousness. And just like Lord Krishna came to free these, the Mayavadis, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to free them from this Buddhist influence, this voidism, impersonalism. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeated all of them. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeated impersonalist Prakashananda, he defeats Buddhists also. In one place in South India, when he goes, these Buddhists, they scheme something. They come for debate with their Buddhist leader, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thoroughly defeats them by quoting from scriptures and by logic that Krishna consciousness is the highest. So, by the way, when I say this, not to insult any of them, but just to show that Krishna consciousness is in gradation is higher. These come lower. One who does not understand Krishna consciousness, they may take to that. But one should not wrongly represent the scriptures and say that this is the highest and Krishna consciousness is the lowest. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeats thoroughly, and they actually make a scheme. They go back and come back with some kind of untouchable food, contaminated food. And as if they are giving gift to the Lord, they give on a plate this contaminated food to want to insult Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But before he takes it, a big bird with a strong beak comes and takes it away and throws the plate on the Buddhist leader, and he starts to bleed and becomes unconscious. And all these followers, they run towards the Lord seeking shelter, understanding that he is the Lord himself. And then he says, chant Krishna name loudly in the ear of your leader. And then he comes back to consciousness, and he also takes shelter of the Lord, and the Lord instructs them to all take to the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and they all take to the chanting of the holy name. So in this way, Bauddha Jain Mayavadi Kutarka Khandana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, he established the principle of Krishna consciousness properly based on the scriptures, like how Krishna is mentioning here. And Prabhupada is explaining the right meaning without right meaning by defeating the wrong meanings given by these other philosophies. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari